Welcome back to Spotlight. I'm here with Sean Mohammed, Managing Director of Nagico, and Ryan Best, the Branch Manager of Scotiabank BVI Limited. Welcome to Spotlight. Good to see you guys.
Hi, good night.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, man. Yeah, I want to talk a little bit. We're going to focus on the upcoming big car sale event that's happening. I think, when is it? On Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
That's May
2nd.
May 2nd. Yeah, but I like to bring some information to the viewers regarding insurance. The hurricane season is right around the corner, and a lot of us don't think that we need insurance. I know homeowners have to have insurance if you have a mortgage. The bank requires that, but many of us in apartments who have cars and other properties that we keep outside, we don't think of having those things insured. Even our furniture, because you're liable to have rain come in and damage your furniture and so on. Are those things insurable? How does that work?
There, insurance companies will typically have provide contents coverage, and we do actively encourage people to insure whatever valuables they have. Not only the persons that own the home, but also those persons who have invested some money acquiring furniture and so forth. So yes, those policies are readily available. Like you said, unfortunately, getting people to understand the importance of having insurance has been a difficult task. And a lot of times people with disposable income are thinking, well, do I spend it here or do I spend it there? And unfortunately, a lot of times people sacrifice the insurance aspect. And I think that nothing will happen. But as my CEO reminded me yesterday, it just takes one hurricane to do the damage.
Yes.
And it's a good reminder that the need for insurance will always be there. It has been since time immemorial. So we are constantly and consistently encouraging persons. We're using our Nagico has several agencies in the Virgin Islands as well, and I think that, so we're using different strategies to get people aware of the need for insurance.
How do you determine if your insurance is adequate, or whether you need to get more or less?
In insurance, all insurance policies requires you to insure for 100% of the rebuilding value or the reinstatement value. Experience has shown that people are very reluctant to buy a policy today for X among sum insured. 10 years from now, they still believe that sum insured should not change, mainly because they don't want to pay additional premium. So we've gone a step further. We have partnered with BCQS and with Covert Bankers, and we say, we will pay for the reinstatement valuation. And that will tell you whether or not the values are adequate, if you need to increase the value or the current value is sufficient. And we take on that cost. And it has had reasonable success, and that's something that, as far as I'm aware, only Nagico offers to the general public. If you had to go and pay for it yourself, it could cost you as much as $750.
Yeah. So you make sure that your homeowners or the people that are with you have a continuous understanding of the value or knowledge of the value of their home.
Very important,
because if something happens to the house,
yeah.
You'll find that it's not you can't.
That's the real challenge.
Insurance. You don't have enough insurance to cover the rebuilding costs or the reinstatement costs.
It has been a challenge because at that particular time, nobody wants to hear that the property is uninsured or what the policy says.
Yeah.
And we've taken a sort of a liberal approach in the two floods. We had 2003, I believe, and 2009. We paid those claims 100%, but we've taken the opportunity to sensitize the insureds that, look, next time this happens, you are now aware that you have to have your property fully insured. And we've had some measure of success. I think it's going to be an ongoing process. People will say, well, BVI hasn't had a hurricane losses for so many years. And, and that creates some challenges for us.
Yeah.
But again, just one hurricane, and we have seen Bermuda last year had losses. Cayman has been hurricane-free for many years until Hurricane Ivan came. Grenada, people would take the boat there for safekeeping during the hurricane season, and we had millions of dollars in losses. So boats in Grenada.
Any particular qualification you need to have in order to acquire insurance, or just have a job?
No, we believe, and we're hoping that the BVI will make this, the Financial Services Department, or the Financial Service Commission rather, will make it mandatory. What we've been discovering more and more is that we're dealing with very educated customers. They know the policies, they know what to expect, and if you don't have people with the expertise to advise, you could be missing important gaps in people's insurance. So one of the things that Nagico has done and has been doing consistently over the years is that we pay for all our staff to do the insurance exams. So most of them are doing the chartered property and casualty courses. We have about 4 persons midway. So we're quite pleased. And in fact, it's one of the things that we can boast about. We have a young team, but the most qualified insurance team in the Virgin Islands. And that's something that I'm extremely proud of. I came from an environment, I originate from Guyana, and that's exactly how they did it. You have to give people incentive, and you have to create the mechanism to allow them to study. And when and I have meetings, chats with my staff every so often. I said to them, you're going to do a bachelor's degree, you spend about 4 years, you spend X amount of dollars, and you come back and you're lucky if you make $3,000 a month. You spend perhaps 2 years doing the chartered property and casualty underwriting course, and your minimum starting salary is $48,000. So when you do the maths, it's great incentive to pursue an insurance career, and we would like to see more persons taking advantage of these opportunities.
I don't know how many persons know that the insurance business was such a lucrative business in terms of jobs. You always think that insurance companies make the money, but the staff...
that's the most valuable resources you have. Yeah, they can make or break you.
Now, in the Virgin Islands, homeowners insurance is mandatory.
Actually, it's not mandatory. Unless you have a mortgage, the banks insist.
Okay. So only if you have a mortgage. So if you pay for your house cash, you don't need to get insurance. Yeah. Of course, you should, but you don't need it. But automobile,
it is mandatory. The Road Traffic Act mandates that you do have motor insurance.
Okay. And if you have a loan from Scotia, of course, you have to have a homeowner's insurance.
Most definitely. And this is one of the things that, we try to encourage customers to keep their insurance up to date, because your home is probably going to be your biggest single investment. And certainly the insurance will provide some sort of coverage, and the BVI and the Caribbean on a whole, we're in a hurricane prone area, and certainly you would not want to lose something as significant as your home after you've put so much effort into getting a mortgage or paying a down payment, getting that dream home.
Taking your last penny and investing in the house, because that's all many of us do that.
Significant investment.
Yeah, many of us do that. Yeah. Now, we talk a lot about hurricanes, but anything could affect your home. I mean, you could have a fire, the gas tank could, you could leave the gas on.
We had a couple last year, Guan Island is, burnt. Not Guan Island, sorry.
Norman Island.
Norman Island.
Yes.
Some, I have to be, we don't think about fire losses,
Yeah.
We tend to think more it's going to be a hurricane loss, but we've had a couple of boats, very expensive boats, just burned. So the exposure is there, and business people need to protect their investment.
Okay. Now, as far as loans, Mr. Best, how do you qualify for loans? Is there a particular formula?
Well, certainly we take a lot of things into account. Different banks would have a different process, but at Scotia we look at the entire financial picture. We look at your entire situation, things like your income, your ability to repay the debt. So that's called the debt service ratio. Certainly we look at the length of time you've been working, because that suggests stability. We look at, whether you rent, whether you own, the type of assets that you have. Certainly people think of, they get concerned when they come to a bank and they think it is a very daunting, what should I say, occurrence. But certainly, we have quite a professional team that we give, what we say is that we try to provide financial advice, and we try to keep you from overextending yourself, and we try to make the process as comfortable for you as possible. And at Scotia, we tend to look at the entire picture by way of not only lending, but how are you saving, how are you investing. Those are the things we tend to look at, because you take a loan, but are you looking at your investment side? Or we look at also how are you repaying your debts? Do we need to introduce you to maybe auto debits to pay your credit cards? Do we need to introduce you to online banking so that you're not running delinquent? Those kinds of things. And certainly delinquency is something that prevents persons from qualifying for loans. You think that credit card doesn't need a payment every month, so you pay it every 3 months. Certainly your credit history and your credit record is something that persons really need to pay attention to, because that can come back to haunt you at some point.
So you need to keep your credit rating up, and you need to make sure that you have some savings. And now persons wanting to buy a house, and from a starting point, how do you advise? Listen, usually you have to put down 10%, 20%. What is the
usually it is
initial
dependent.
investment?
Yeah, usually it's dependent on the customer's situation, but usually if you're gonna purchase or build, we look at a 10%, or we do 90% financing. And certainly persons may have land, they may own land already. So what we look at, if the person owns land, is that you can utilize the equity, what we call equity, or the ownership in that land, that can represent your 10% injection.
Oh, okay.
So certainly what we would do is encourage persons to come in and speak to our home finance specialist or one of our personal banking officers. And what we do is we pre-qualify persons. We can say to you, based on your salary, this is what a mortgage payment, this is the type of mortgage payment you can afford. So this is the size or type of mortgage you should be looking for. And we had a home show a few months ago, I think it was in February, where we provided that kind of advice for customers, so that you wouldn't have a situation where you go and pay for plans to have a $800,000 house drawn and you can only qualify for $400,000. So a pre-qualification and some sort of advice is really important.
Before you go draw anything, before you go to do anything, come into the
definitely.
bank and say, I want to build a house. What do I need? I need to start saving from now. I need to develop some savings.
Precisely, because
and this is my income, and so what can I afford? Then I save towards that, and then keep my credit going correctly, and I'll be in a good position.
Definitely. And you need to look at also the closing fees, because persons need to get an idea of what the legal fees will be, what the appraiser fees will be, and those are things you need to consider, because as I mentioned before, your home is usually probably going to be your single biggest investment. So some planning and footwork needs to go in to getting ready for that big step you're going to make in life.
Right. Now, Sean, there's something called microinsurance that you're taking a look at, and I mean I don't know how far along that is, but what is that about?
It's actually a government initiative, and they've had a consultant explore the possibility of microinsurance, which is basically to have insurance provided for a lower level in terms of affordability. I personally don't believe that we have the numbers to sustain it, and that's going to be our challenge. I think that the government, though, does recognize the need to try and create a special type policy that meets the needs and suits the pockets of a certain income class. But I'm afraid that there's not enough support. But it's something that is worthwhile exploring, and perhaps as time progresses, the situation will become much more favorable for offering such a policy.
But certainly would mean an expansion in your market base, because if you could bring insurance to persons who are lower income persons, and who stand to lose a great deal, because a lower income person, when they lose their property, is really, really difficult to reinstate it.
The challenge for us though is because the numbers are so small, the premiums that we would have to charge still does not reach.
So you can't come that low.
minimum
You
level.
can't come
Yeah.
that low.
And that's the challenge,
That is-
as you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mother's Day car sale is coming up. Nagico and Scotiabank's partnering. Tell us some about that.
Well, I think it's a good partnership. Scotiabank is offering very favorable terms and conditions stuff.
How much percent?
That's the
There's
first thing everyone asks.
6.95.
Favorable terms.
It's 6.9, but more
It's like a
importantly,
political statement.
it's yeah. Maybe I've left too long in the BVI, you know. But it's 100% financing, and I think that
100%. So no money down.
no.
Yeah, for qualified customers. But what we say to customers, everyone asks the interest rate. That's the first thing
That's the
everyone
first thing
asks.
you want to know. Yeah.
But you look at what the monthly payment is. Can it fit into your budget? And is that dream car, is it affordable? And the interest rate is one thing, but the time that you stretch the loan will determine what that payment is and what you can afford. And certainly the rate is a very attractive rate. Is quite low, and we're encouraging persons to come out. And also there's no application fee, and that's one of the things as well that we want to let customers know about. For that day, loans taken, applications taken, and we will have our entire team along with the team from Nagico on site to take applications, to approve, let you know if you're approved, that sort of stuff.
So you're approving loans on site?
Subject to credit checks being carried out. But what we ask customers to do is to walk with your job letter, walk with 2 pieces of ID, one government issued, and 2 months pay slips. So some persons are paid every 2 weeks, so that means you will bring four, or if you're paid monthly, you bring 2, and your job letter, 2 pieces of ID. The dealers are going to have their representatives on staff there as well, so they can provide you with the bill of sale or the invoice, and we can let you know what's happening, right?
And what about a person who is self-employed and wants to apply for a loan? What would that documentation look like?
Certainly we look at, if you have a bank account, we will look at your bank account statements to see the cash flow that you're taking. If you keep records, if you keep a receipt book, that sort of thing. Self-employed persons, we usually tend to work with them along what records they have and what deposits they have flowing through a bank account. And certainly that's one of the things that we try to encourage small business persons to do. Keeping records is extremely important, because, and one of the easiest way to keep a record is to deposit whatever cash you get, pass it through an account.
Yes.
Because the banks can take a statistic of the account and see what your cash is like.
And I have to say as well that it's really great for managing your money, especially the online service at Scotia.
Precisely.
It's really good. You could look in there, and you don't have to worry about getting a receipt. You pay by your card, or you write a check. When you just go in there, you could see where all the money is, where it's going, what you're spending it on. I have a lot of fun with it, and you're able to transfer money. And what I'm looking forward to is when I could just pay all my bills from online, and not have to stand on the line.
Yeah, well, we're getting there. Only this week we launched a new initiative, and persons might have seen it. We have an online banking rep now in the branch, and we have an iPad in the branch and for customers' usage for online activity. And the rep, she has her iPad, signing up persons and stuff, because that's the direction everyone is going towards, the online banking and making it easier and more convenient.
So you come with your records, and you will do the analysis, and you will say, well, this is what you can afford, this is the kind of car you can afford. Well, there's no down payment, so so therefore, the money that you're making, your debt to income ratio would have to be to suffice
Suitable,
to be suitable.
And your credit checks.
And your
Now,
credit check, yeah.
We usually take about 2 days to, check and see that everything is okay.
And what's the length of the loan, the car loan?
We can go up to 6 years financing. But if you want to take a shorter period of time, you certainly can. But the maximum term is 6 years.
Okay. Now, what kind of cars you selling?
Well, we having, the Nissan dealer is going to be there, and Subaru, which is Brooks Garage. International Motors is going to be there with the Jeeps and Suzukis and Kia and the Mercedes-Benz. Alan Parker is going to have his Toyotas and his Hondas. So I think you're going to have a good spread. I think that Nagico has actually we've gone back to our 1999 rates, which is $500 flat premium for increased coverage. We're also going to be raffling a free year insurance as well. We recognize that $1 save is $1 earned, and these are some difficult times. And when you consider BVI terrain, families need to be able to move around, to get from point A to point B. So I think that it's also a good community outreach approach as well.
Okay. And
Alfonso's Garage is also going to be there, and they have used cars as well as what they carry, the Wingle and a few used cars, and they're going to be on site as well.
Yeah, I was looking at the Wingle, I think a truck that was parked outside of Scotia for $22,000,
yeah,
which is an excellent price.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, the only thing is a standard. And I mean, I could drive a standard, but I don't want to drive a standard.
The gear now very often.
Yeah, with the traffic and everything, But I suspect the price is reflective of the fact that it's a standard. But it's a good, nice looking truck. Now, so if you come to the show and you want a particular car, but it's not on display, does it mean it doesn't exist in the BVI? You can't get it, or how do you deal with that situation?
I'm sure that the dealer would make suitable arrangements. I mean, these days you can import from the nearby regions, whether it's from the Caribbean or directly from the US. So we don't think that's going to be a problem.
Okay, so you could still get the car that you want. Okay. So why on Mother's Day?
It's the weekend before Mother's Day. Yes.
It is, but it's touted,
it's
branded as
okay, all right.
It's
a pre-Mother's Day.
Perfect.
Okay, so it's a good time to get your mom a new car, right?
Definitely, that's what it is.
That's what it is. Okay, cool. And of course, you'll be right there Nagico's right there to
write the policy right there and then.
Write the policy.
An issue, yeah.
And I guess you couldn't drive out with the car.
You have to go down and get a license plate. The process, we've made the process very simple, as Ryan has also said from the Scotiabank side.
What we've had a lot of success with, making it convenient for the customer. Everyone is going to be there on site. The branch is going to be open specifically for taking applications. So certainly, we will try to expedite them as quickly as possible as well, because car loans take priority. Everyone wants to get that vehicle quickly, wants to get it on the road. And of course, you want to make mom happy with her car, surprise her with a new car for Mother's Day. So certainly.
Okay, so that's May 2nd, and that's that's a Saturday.
Yes.
That's next Saturday.
This
Saturday coming.
9 till 2.
Oh, this Saturday coming.
It came out of fast.
The Mongana.
Yeah, easy boy.
Just like that.
4 months.
It was the 5th month. Yesterday was New Year's.
Yeah. 2 more months and my presidency is over.
It sounds like something you're looking forward to.
It's time.
Yeah, cool. So this weekend coming up, and where's the location?
It's right opposite the Road Town main branch of Scotiabank in the car park. And, we're encouraging everyone to come out, because one of the great things about it, you may not be able to own a car right now, or, you can bring out the kids, let them look at the new Range Rover, let them look at the Nissan X-Trail, let them look at a Jeep Wrangler. You know, and persons, car enthusiasts may want to see the features, they may want to see the moonroof, they may want to see, you know, what is the latest, what should I be looking for, what is the 2015 or 2016 model going to look like. And, you know, these dealers have really professional staff. They can talk to you about anything car related. You know, they really know their trade.
Okay. We fall on attorney o'clock. I think we got we got in.
Went by quickly too.
Yeah, we got in. I think, but basically everything. I don't know if there's anything that you guys want to add. Certainly, it's a important sale. Person is going to be able to come and get no down payment, 100% financing for a new car. You get no application fee. You get the right on the spot. And you have you went back to the 1999 rates.
Yeah.
So that means what, $500 for comprehensive insurance?
Fully comprehensive. Doesn't matter what the value is.
You're kidding.
You're making very special concessions for this particular.
This is something. I need to come down there.
Yeah, definitely.
I need to come down there. That sounds like a hot deal. And you bring your 2 months worth of pay slips, or you bring your bank statements if you're self-employed. So if you have a Scotia account,
well, that's going to make it a lot easier.
You could go right in. You could go right in right there on the spot and check, and I can have you check my cash flow right on the spot, right? I mean, is that electronically? That's certainly viable.
Once you're depositing,
yeah. And you could check, and then I have to wait not to see my credit rating, make sure that I've been paying my bills on regular.
Yeah.
And I could just walk out with a car. Now, what is the ratio, the income to debt ratio?
It depends on the applicant, but the maximum that we go to is 50%.
50%.
Yes, so your bills or all of your monthly commitments, credit card, mortgage, loan, rent, all of those things, your monthly payments should not exceed more than half of what your monthly salary is.
Okay, so that's a high ratio.
But that's for specific customers. So it ranges between 40 and 50% depending on the application, right? Of course, we take into consideration rental income and salaried income as well.
So if you have an apartment, if you're working and you have an apartment building, all the income is considered.
Yeah. One thing we encourage customers to do that own apartments is pass that money through an account as well. And it makes it a lot easier to track your tenants to ensure that they're paying. And, you know, some persons have a lot of apartments. They may have a complex with 8 apartments. You can check your statement online and see that your tenants have paid, right? And we encourage you to have that money deposited through an account as well for record keeping.
That's great. And this is on Saturday morning. What time you start?
9 a.m.
From 9 a.m. and you go till
2 p.m.
From 9 to 2ish, and that means between 2 and 4.
Depends
on the flow.
Yeah, definitely.
You ain't gonna turn anybody away.
Don't make sense.
Right. So 9 to 2ish, and it's gonna be right opposite Scotia Bank. I think that's what Miss Lake.
Yeah, Miss Courtesy Park
Rentals. Yeah.
Mrs. Lake.
Mrs. Lake's place, and you're gonna have Burke's Garage, Parker's Garage, Alfonso's, International Motors. So you got Kias, Range Rovers, and they got a hot new Nissan.
The one we raffled, very popular, very lovely car.
Very popular. They taking the road by storm. I see them all the time now. I really like that one. They remodeled it and modernized it and give it some nice curves.
Very nice.
Yes.
Curves are always nice.
Yeah, curves are always nice. Well, Ryan, Sean, it's really good to have you on the program. Talk to us a little about insurance, about banking. And I think we need to perhaps do this some more, particularly in terms of banking information, insurance information, so people could be up on what they need, the importance of these things, and how to apply for loans, for mortgages, for cars, or whatever the loans are, and how to prepare to be successful in an application for a mortgage or a car loan.
We're very receptive.
Definitely.
Yes.
I'm sure we're going to be doing something right for Father's Day.
Yeah, we'll.
So you'll be back. Yes, indeed. We're going to take a break for a word from our sponsors. When we come back, we're going to come back with Education Officer Geraldine Carlwood and the proprietor of Little Lighthouse Learning Center, Ms. Deidre Nibbs, and we're going to be talking about early childhood education, importance of it, what the regulations are, and how you could get involved in that, what to look for when you're going to look for a daycare center for your youngsters, and a whole bunch of great information. Keep it locked right in the spotlight. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Spotlight is brought to you by the National Bank of the Virgin Islands and CCT Global Communications.